All right, guys. Well, today we got my man Christian Brindle. Surprise visit. Dude's coming all the way from Utah, right? You could tell he's in Utah. He's not in Florida. He's got them white legs, but he's here in Florida to get a tan, and he decided to come visit me, which is so cool. So I appreciate you stopping by, man.
Hey, appreciate you having me.
Need no introduction, really. Everybody on here should know who you are. Valuable part of not only the community that I built, but your community as well, man. You're serving people in every way you can in the Medicare space, and very similar. Why, right? Want to help other agents succeed and all that good stuff. So it's a treat to have you in the office. And, we didn't talk about what we're going to talk about. We're just going to wing it. And so like we always do,
Best
right?
conversations happen spontaneously.
No doubt, man. No doubt. And I heard you were just at the Medicare Bob's office. So we'll start there, dude.
Yeah, so this morning, got a chance to hang out with Mr. Robert Beisch.
Beast.
And
absolute monster.
Got a chance to see some of the stuff he's doing with AmeriLife, which was really cool. Got me into Jagger's office, which was amazing.
Massive player.
Got to see
his candy store.
Yeah, his candy store.
Their game room.
Yeah, I got to see all of it. So it was just an awesome morning, and it was an experience. It's funny because I lived here in Florida for a year.
And I didn't know. I actually learned that when he said he was coming down. I learned that he was from here. Or were you from here? Or
no, I'm from Utah, but I lived here for a year.
Okay.
My wife and I were going to have a baby, wanted to be closer to family. Long story short, we moved back because of that.
Gotcha.
But
okay.
I didn't know Bobby at all.
Right.
When I was living here.
Right.
I was kind of blind to the whole online communities at that point.
Yeah.
Or they might have not even existed.
Yeah.
That long ago.
Or very early stages for sure.
Yeah. So it was just cool because, he's lived in Tampa forever. And, we lived in the same county and everything like that. And,
Die-hard Bucks fan. Freaking dude's an animal. He had a Bucks shirt on today when you were with him. It's no surprise, man. Dude's an animal. And if you don't know who Medicare Bob is, just kind of a pioneer in the Medicare space as far as lead gen and doing creative things. And it's taken him really far. So that's why I love, when you can get into a room with somebody like Christian or somebody like Medicare Bob or Justin Brock or Cody or me for that matter, anybody that's doing things a little bit different, right? It's all kind of, it's all got similarities, but when you can get into a room with somebody that's doing things like that or at that level, man, you take advantage, even if you're on vacation, right?
That's right. So, luckily I have a wonderful wife.
Yeah,
because,
no kidding.
She basically told me our first day here, she's like, you can go off and visit all your little friends. That's what she calls it. She's like, you can go off and see all your friends and everything like that. She's like, just make sure you spend time with me too. And so tomorrow, completely, I'm not seeing anybody. It's just me and her just hanging out. We're gonna go to the beach. We're gonna go to Busch Gardens.
I'm gonna come find him.
He's gonna
Busch
come
Gardens?
Yeah, I love Busch Gardens.
Busch Gardens, sweet. Yeah.
This is the best. We used to have season passes.
Yeah.
So it's just we got to go back.
Yeah.
We got to go back.
You live in Tampa, you got to have season passes. So, all right. So I want to ask him though, because we obviously, we were just talking about it kind of prior to jumping on this, and you write Medicare primarily, right? That's your if you had a specialty, it would be Medicare. I would assume because you have a group called Six Figure Medicare Agents. So I would
no, we write life.
Wait, where does the name Six Figure Medicare Agent come from? Let me hear that first.
Yeah, of course. So the concept of Six Figure Medicare Agent to me is so we all know about the whole turnover rate of insurance agents, particularly health insurance, life insurance agents particularly, but we all know that there's a huge turnover rate, right? Cody Askins has a whole concept built around the concept, 8% nation, 92% of agents fail in the first 3 years. I believe, I cannot think of very many people that have made a six-figure income selling insurance that have failed.
It'd be hard to.
I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
I might be the first, honestly. Right. I might be the first. If I keep spending money on everything, I might be the first agent to make multiple six figures and still fail. So we'll see.
Yeah,
but I just believe in this so much. I believe in the industry.
Same.
I'll throw all the money at this industry because it's been good to me. So
for sure, for me, when I look at how much we actually spend on the business, sometimes I'm, because it's a scary thing sometimes.
No doubt.
But I completely can understand that. But the concept of six-figure Medicare agent to me is I feel like there's a lot of groups out there, a lot of philosophies out there that will try to teach people, okay, you need to be a millionaire, you need to make seven figures, which obviously that's the ultimate goal.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, me too. But I feel like for a lot of newer agents, if they can just start out with a smaller goal, something that might be more within their reach, we might see less people fail.
No doubt.
And so the purpose of the group was to try to help newer agents hit their first 6 figures of income selling insurance. And so I feel like that's kind of the battle cry. And, it's turned into something much bigger than just making a 6-figure income. I think it's also turned into a community where people that are making 6 figures, or, people that are making $150 can try to find ways to go up to 300 or 500 or crack into that 7-figure range. But that was the whole general consensus of the topic of it when we first started it.
Yeah.
It's just turned into something much more because of people like yourself, Baish, Brock, Justin, all these people that have become a part of the community and contribute to it. And they just share such bigger ideas.
And anytime I can contribute, I'm more than happy to, of course, because I know how difficult it can be to run a community like that. Like, we just want to create value no matter what. But I want to jump into something you just said real quick, and then I'll get back to the point of what I wanted to talk to you about, what I want to pull from you, because this is, and we're live in the 6-figure Medicare agent group. So this is like, I want to speak to some Medicare agents here in a moment. But before I do, you said it's evolved from, helping a new agent earn their first 6 figures to then maybe multiple 6 figures, $250,000, $500,000, so on and so forth. I just had a guest in here. She's amazing. She's helping me build some courses, doing some awesome stuff. But we just talked about how it doesn't, if you're making $0 or $1 million, right? Like whatever, wherever you're at on the spectrum, fundamentally you're still solving the same issues. You just have different resources to be able to utilize to solve that issue, right? So
right.
If you are starting out in this and you're making $0, well, your issue is still the same as our issue, right? We need people to talk to. We need a lead source. We need to learn how to generate our own leads. Maybe we all fundamentally need the same things to get to that next level. I just had to bring that up because a lot of times I feel like we look at other people's success and we're like, well, yeah, I mean, of course he's got all this or all that or whatever, but nobody started there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like,
everyone started from zero. Everybody. Right. I mean, I don't know really anyone I can think of in the business that is just ridiculously successful that, you could just say, well, they were handed this, they were handed that. Everybody started from zero.
Yeah.
And they had to grow it to what it is today. So they have the resources because they created the resources.
Yeah, 100%. And the more resources you have, the more fun this tends to get, because what we were just talking about before we got on here was the course creation and, creating content and all of that stuff. And I can tell you, for me, this guy's a freaking legend because he has studied it, learned it. And if I'm being honest, one of the struggles that I have, and Eric can attest to it, is when I was talking about launching a course, it was like, yeah, but I don't know anything about the content creation because I'm not really creating the content. I paid somebody to do that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But the difference is I'm doing what I love to do and outsourcing the things that I don't, right? When you've got that resources, you can do that. So one of the things that kind of prevented me from doing that for a long time was like, man, I didn't learn I don't know everything about YouTube, for that matter. I don't know anything about it. I just know that I have videos on there and so people watch them, right? And we continue to try to grow it. But that's the way that I want to keep it, right? Like, I don't want to learn that stuff. I want to know what I know and that's it. So
yeah, for sure. I mean,
not much, by the way.
But it makes a lot of sense because your time is spent so much more valuably doing other things.
Absolutely.
Than trying to figure out how to make a thumbnail. Right? Like, I mean,
that would take me 3 weeks, so that's a lot of valuable time.
Like for me, I've kind of self-taught myself a lot of this stuff, and it's made me, somewhat dangerous.
Yeah.
But it's also been something to where I wish I was hiring help for it sooner.
Right.
If I could go back 3-4 years ago when I started really doing content creation, and I could outsource more, hire more in staff for that position specifically, I would do it. And just have them show me what they're doing. Like, even if 100%. I just want to know, and I feel like you just need to know enough so that way you can be involved in the process.
Yeah, we've had that conversation before, but you just got to know enough to kind of be dangerous. And, I tell myself I know enough to be dangerous anyways, so it is what it is. But what I'm trying to help you see here is that there really is not like a right or wrong way to do things. Like Christian, he started, I wouldn't say you started with a ton of resources, right? Like, you started with minimal resources and minimal knowledge, and you said, like, started from zero. I know your dad had an agency, but that you still started pretty much from scratch.
Right. So
there's no excuse. You still did it. Like you still figured it out. You still learned it. You still, put effort into it.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, the biggest resource that I had starting out was I had my dad's knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. Like I had my dad as a mentor, somebody that had built an agency for 25 years at the time of me starting. So that was very helpful. Just kind of not so much learning marketing or sales. Like that, my dad was never great at a great salesperson or a great marketer. But what my dad was he was wise. So he could teach me like the ins and outs of Medicare. He could teach me about the products. He could just show me some of that little stuff.
Show you enough to be dangerous?
Yeah, show me enough to be dangerous. And so instead of me having to go out in the field and struggle for 12 months trying to figure this stuff out, I would maybe get a little bit more guidance, and then I'd know more what I'm supposed to do in the field.
Which, if I'm being honest, I shouldn't say everybody, but if I'm being honest, everybody should have that anyways, right? That's what an upline is for. So it's not like he might have had a slight advantage because he happened to live with his mentor at a certain point in time. Yeah. But and they were probably close and they spent more time together than you might spend time with your mentor. But the point is that you started from scratch and you started with somebody that was teaching you, and you took that in and applied it. And so if you can take something away from what we're talking about here, it's like, hey, there's no excuses. You know what I mean? Right. There's always a way. And it's funny because that was kind of the theme of the conversation we were just having with Sheena before this. But all right, I want to dig into this because this is like always for me so frustrating because like if I were to try to jump into Medicare like full-fledged, it's too much for me. Like I know enough to be dangerous, right? I sell it. We have a ton of agent business, so naturally, we don't want to leave that money on the table. But again, I've outsourced some of that. We have Medicare experts on the team those are the people that are writing that business. But I believe, okay, and this is just my belief, I believe that under 65 health insurance is the lowest barrier to entry in the insurance space, lower than life insurance, lower than final expense, lower than any of that stuff, because everybody should have it or does for the most part. And there's not in reality all that many different products. And so one of the things that what I'm getting to here is that one of the things that I see a lot of times is Medicare agents referring out business. Mm-hmm. And hey, I'm not mad about it at all. Like if Medicare, if you're in here, if you're in this group that's inside of Christian's phone right now, the six-figure Medicare agent group, and you want to refer under 65 business, I'll take it.
I'll take it too if you want.
He'll take it too. But the point is, I think that so many Medicare agents, and so this is one of the reasons for the course too, so many Medicare agents and so many life insurance agents are leaving a lot of money on the table by not writing it because it's pretty simple, right? So I want to get your take, okay, from the six-figure Medicare agent, from him, like why you should maybe consider getting into under 65, or what his experience has been with it, and if it's been super difficult for you, or whatever. So I'll let you speak to it.
So I got a great story about
Perfect.
This. So my first 5 years, I want to say, in the business, I was referring the under 65 business out. So I was that guy.
Yeah.
So there was an agency that had their Medicare contracts with us that was in downtown Salt Lake. We had a great relationship with them. They did all kinds of stuff. They do Medicare, they do group, they do, under 65, all kinds of stuff. But they were good at the ACA. And at the time, my dad told me that we don't want to deal with that. It's too hard.
Sorry,
we don't want
Pops.
to deal with that. Yeah, so that's what he always told me. He would say, we don't want to do this. It's too hard. You have to deal with the marketplace, subsidies, all this stuff. The common things that you hear from agents probably still to this day. So
no money in it, that kind of stuff.
Yes. Yeah, all that. And so we referred all of our ACA business and under 65 business over to them and let them write it. It was 2000 and it was 2018, I think. The end of the year came because we started doing under 65 2019.
Okay.
Even incorporated it into our office. I looked at how many referrals we sent them.
Oh no.
At the end of the year.
Oh no.
Because I was just curious because it seemed like a lot.
Right.
There was over 100 that year.
What's that, like a couple $100,000 worth of revenue probably?
Something like that. So I was like, I couldn't believe it, and I was like, okay, enough is enough. We need to figure out how to do this.
No doubt.
And so I just, looking back on it, I picture how much money we left on the table, and they were giving us a little, referral bonus here and there. So it's not like we were getting nothing, and then
they brought you like a basket at Christmas time.
Right.
Like,
and they did a great job. Like if you have to refer it out to somebody, they're probably the type of shop you want to do it, because if they were turning 65, let's say someone's 63, they're turning 65 in a couple of years, they'd refer it back to us. So they were very ethical about it.
That's
good.
And
we still have a great relationship with them to this day, but it got to the point where this is just stupid for us not to be doing it.
No doubt.
And so I can speak from a place of experience that it's something that you should have in your bandwagon. Now,
you heard it from him, see?
That being said,
here we go.
A disclaimer, this is what I find that, let's say a brand new agent, right, that's in their first 90 days of maybe trying to sell Medicare.
Right.
I feel like those agents that are trying to learn Medicare because they know nothing about Medicare, and then they're also trying to learn the under 65 stuff at the same time, that's where where you get into trouble.
Absolutely.
I feel like you should probably, master one of them, or, have 9 to 12 months under your belt first and then pick it up.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And we do the same thing when somebody comes in to sell specifically under 65. We're not going to turn them on to Medicare and group health and everything all at the same time. It's just too much, right? Like, I wouldn't be able to do it. I can tell you that much right now. Like I would be like brain overload, and
for sure.
I would have paralysis by analysis, essentially.
Me too.
So I couldn't agree with them more, but I know that there's also a ton of Medicare agents that, could write a supplement or an advantage plan in their sleep, but they're still not writing the under 65. And those people can definitely add it.
That is a mistake. Like if Medicare through and through, it's in the same family.
Yeah.
There's no reason why
deductible's a deductible, right?
Right.
A copay's a copay. They all correlate, and they really all fall under the umbrella of health. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Health is under 65 and over 65, so it all incorporates the kind of the same thing. And I think it gives your agency a little bit of a little bit more clout, I guess, with clients when you can do both, right? But also, I want you to understand too, or catch what Christian said, is basically the need grew so large that they found a way to fill that need, right, for themselves, because they were leaving a lot of revenue on the table. And I think a lot of times in any business, not just in insurance, but in any business, we try to go there before the need is there, rather than okay, the need's here, let's fulfill this need. We're trying to go build something for maybe a need that's not really there. Right. And so if, on the other hand of this, I don't want to deter you away from Medicare and say, hey, right under 65 and, whatever. If you have a need, if you're referring a lot of people out or anything like that, man, that's where get with me, get with Christian. This is not, it's not rocket science, right? No. It's pretty easy. So in your estimation, I guess we can go from an agency standpoint. From a revenue standpoint, what is bringing under 65 done for you guys since you said 2019? Do you track those numbers?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, so it's definitely added to our business. Now, we've grown a lot regardless, since then. So like last year during COVID, the COVID year, essentially, 2020, we doubled in revenue.
Way back when.
Way back when. Yeah. We doubled in revenue that year. The ACA stuff, being able to service that under 65 market and being able to offer short-term medical and all this stuff, it was very helpful towards that. It's hard for me to put an exact figure on maybe like how much it helped grow our business, but I knew it was a substantial part of us being able to grow, because we get people that contact our office constantly, all the time, that were referred by a family member or a friend or something like that. Or, a client will call us and be like, my grandchild needs insurance. My brother needs insurance. He's 15 years younger. Like, it's just nonstop.
Right.
And so us just not being able to just turn them away has been a substantial revenue gainer for us.
Because now they're in your system for when they turn 65 too. If they're 15 years away, I mean, that's a long time, but a lot of times it might be, the spouse in the house situation, right? Galen Hendricks' deal. That's the whole deal. What has it done? And I know this is kind of a loaded question, but from a recruiting standpoint, has that helped you retain more agents or attract more agents or things like that? Has it helped the agency because you now are able to service that need as well?
Yes and no, because honestly, we don't focus on it a ton with the recruiting side of things. It's helped, like, because people want something that can be offered, and so we have something that can offer them to the agents essentially. But it has helped, but I don't know if on the recruiting side it's been as impactful than on the in-house side.
I think it's been more impactful than he even knows, because I get agents that reach out to me and are like, hey, my FMO for Medicare, they don't do any under 65, or they don't do much of it, or they really don't have a whole lot of value to add there. So like, do you have contract, that kind of thing? And so I think it's the same concept as leaving money on the table on the prospect side of things. If you've got people calling you, right? If you've got agents on your team and they're calling you and so I'm talking to leaders out there now, I'm talking to uplines and even FMOs for that matter. When you are leaving that money, when you have agents calling you, hey, I'm running across a lot of people that are under 65. Do we do anything with that? And you're like, no, we only do Medicare. You're leaving money on the table essentially there too.
100%.
So
100%. Like, I feel like it's essentially something that you're going to get asked about it if you do Medicare. There's no avoiding it. You're going to get asked about it from agents. You're going to get asked about it from customers. So being set up to essentially even take that call and be able to do something with it is going to be vital for your business. It's going to add a new component to your business and add revenue. Like, if I had to guess, I'd say it's probably contributed to maybe 25 to 30% of our growth.
That's huge.
Our growth.
That's huge.
So it's been a big factor. It's just another source of revenue for us. I'm all about those different sources. I mean,
of course.
What we're in this business for, right?
Well, speaking of different sources of revenue and growth and all of that stuff, like what's your big goals? And I think I know a couple of them, but like where are you looking to take this? Because I know that we do a lot of things in parallel. Like, we're growing the YouTube channel, we're doing, courses and some things like that. And you've been doing it for a while, and I'm just kind of, getting into it as well. But like, where do you see that going? Where's the trajectory, or what's the why behind it even?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, well, to start with the courses, for me, the courses were originally created to give us an automated way of training our agents.
Love that.
That was originally the purpose of it. So I wanted something to where the agent could plug into and get a system where they could go through as much or as little training as they wanted.
Right.
They could pick and choose topics if they just needed a certain answer, but they'd have a library of content that I've actually, put the work in and the infrastructure to be able to build. Because I mean, you can only train one agent at a time unless
somebody once told me, a wise person once told me, never train one-on-one.
Yeah, it's
always
just not
in a
good.
group setting.
It's just not good. And then like you're in a situation where the agents drive you nuts, like, and early on.
Not you guys though. Not anybody watching this. That's for sure.
No, we love you guys. Love all of you. And if you're with us, we love you. But my point is, you have to find a way to automate as much as possible.
Yeah.
Reduce tasks, take things off your plate. Like if you're doing, let's say, group trainings and you're doing them once a week, imagine if you could create a video on something that's going to be good for 3 years, but the information's not going to change for 3 years, and then if somebody needs help with that, you already have it made. You did the presentation perfectly the first time. You're never going to be able to do it as well as you did it that first time. And so that was the original thought behind it.
Right.
We started selling the courses for paid costs because people were begging us to in the group. There are people like, like, I like my upline, I like my FMO. I don't want to move my contracts to you to get the courses. Like, but can I just pay you for them?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you'd pay for them? I'm like,
how much?
I'm like, I guess we can figure that out.
Yeah, right. Right.
And so that's kind of how it all kind of evolved, essentially. It didn't start out thinking that it would be a huge revenue generator for us, but it has. And essentially, for me, the long-term goal and the why behind it is I feel like now we offer our courses for a very reasonable price.
Yeah.
People yell at me, other people in the industry, they're just like, you're not charging enough.
Yeah.
And I raised the price a little bit, and they're like, still not enough. I'm like, because I want to help.
$1 million.
Yeah, $1 million. But I want to help agents.
Yeah.
Just like you.
Right.
We're in it for the same reasons. I want to make agents' lives easier. I want to help them have a resource that maybe I didn't feel like I had early on. And so we just want to have them have a resource available to them that's going to be affordable.
Yeah.
It's going to be something that they can plug into. It's going to help them get information they might not be able to get everywhere else.
Right.
And that's also the same reason why we do the YouTube channel. Like, we just cracked over 200 videos on Six-Figure Medicare
awesome.
Agent, and it's that's all free.
Yeah.
And there's some stuff in there that I could probably put into the course.
Always
like
is,
it's probably good enough to go into the course, And so for me, it's just all about trying to make a difference.
Yeah.
To impact the industry in a positive way, do what I can to help people. And I'm a big believer that if you do the right thing for enough people, that it comes back on you every time.
For sure. And I think of, the saying about, people overestimate what they can do in a short period of time and underestimate what they can do in a long period of time. Mm-hmm. And I think, I often, when I'm talking about insurance, because I was short-sighted for so long in it, I guess like the first 2 or 3 years, I was focused on the income that I was going to make today or this week or, this month or this year even. When you're thinking like annual income, that's even, thinking small, because you're underestimating what you can do in the long term. And when I think about, the content creation game and courses and all of these things, yes, it fits that need for somebody that, hey, I don't want to move all my contracts. Either A, it's a pain in the butt, or B, I'm pretty happy or whatever. But hey, I want access to that course. Well, that's going to give them a taste of you, right? Like that's going to give them, so that potentially down the road, right? If there is an issue or if there's another, carrier that you can work together on, it doesn't have to be all of them, but maybe one or two of them you can work together on. You've kind of built that relationship, right? And so, when I think about the reasons behind it, for me, it's like, man, I don't care if you're on my team or you're not on my team. I want you to have these resources. I want you to succeed. I want you to do well, because I can tell you, like, the amount of value that I've received from my uplines. Okay, this is not a knock on any uplines. I'm just saying the amount of value that I've received from my uplines compared to the amount of value that I've received from like guys like Christian or Justin or Cody or people that are outside of my own sphere of influence, it's not even comparable.
Right.
Like most of the things that I've learned are from people that aren't making money off of teaching me that, right? They're just doing it to help out. And so I've always talked about one way that we, onboard new agents is, basically by shadowing, essentially. You're going to shadow this agent, then you're going to make calls. They're going to help you on those calls, help you close that deal or whatever. And when I explain it like that, I always remind them that, hey, today, right, this agent's going to help you out, help you close your first few sales and whatever. And then the reason why they're doing that is because somebody helped them. And so keep that in mind, because one day you're going to help the next guy. Right. And maybe I'm not even grooming them for leadership just as much as I am saying a lot of agents fail, right? A lot of agents are short-sighted. A lot of agents aren't getting outside of their own circle of influence. And we need to kind of band together, lock arms, and help more people win, because I think Christian can agree, like when you do, man, it just blows the lid off of everything else that you can expect in your life.
So I believe that us as agents are stronger as a community.
For sure.
I mean, I've heard you say it many times, the under 65 health insurance space is tremendously underserved.
Amen.
For as many Medicare agents as it seems like there are, underserved as well.
Yeah.
In the perspective of how many people need the help. So I feel like we're not really in competition with each other. I look at us, if we're in competition with anybody, it's probably the government. It's probably
Amen.
It's probably the giant conglomerates like eHealth or something like that. Like those organizations, I feel like are probably our most direct competition if we have any. But some might argue that we don't have any competition. But I feel like there's no reason for us not to help each other.
For sure.
I can learn a ton of things from you. There's a ton of things that I can learn from Cody. There's a ton of things I can learn from Medicare Bob.
Yeah.
There's a ton of things I can learn from Justin. And by me helping another agent out or that other agent helping me out or us sharing things back and forth, it's not going to hurt either one of our businesses. It's 100%. Just going to make us both better.
Yeah.
And it's possible because really, for the most part, the industry is underserviced.
Right, and there's plenty of business to go around, and that comes with that abundance mindset rather than scarcity mindset, right? And I think, the fact that we're just like name dropping all of the same 5, 6, 7, 8 people, like it speaks to how underserved it is. Like there's more of this to go around than we even understand. And one of my goals, and this is probably over the last 2 weeks, and one of the things that I've been writing down and focusing on, and I stole this from somebody else, I'm sure, but it's less competition, more collaboration. And
yes.
So the fact that Christian was able to come down here from Tampa, no less. I mean, it was an hour drive, so he wasn't like just right in the neighborhood. He drove an hour to be here to do this. I really appreciate it, because you're helping me get to that whole more collaboration, less competition, and was generous enough to even let me, six-figure Medicare agent, shut off here. But
before it died.
Yeah. So we were going live, but then it died. So if you're watching this for the first time, there's going to be a discount code through his group, because I mean, I'll be honest, I remember we did the interview and I picked your brain on courses and things like that. And look, dude, that was probably a year ago.
Yeah.
And now I'm just now getting to this, because that's the belief that I have in wanting to deliver like something solid, you know what I mean? And this is just the first of many. So like, I don't want to like talk it up and make it seem like you do this course, you're going to make 7 figures next year, but like
but you might.
But you might. But I'm going to put everything I have into it, because like you, I want to actually deliver some value and help, because my background was freaking construction, right? Like grind and labor. Like I thought a good day was busting my butt at work and then going home to bitch about it with my dad and saying, yeah, today sucks, huh? Cheers to that. It's like this job's horrible, It's like, oh, this guy said this and F that guy, and and it wasn't like in the moment I'm like, I'm cool with it, it's like whatever, but I realized, man, there's more to life, and insurance, succeeding in the insurance industry is kind of given that to me. So as we wrap up here, closing thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, 3 things I'll leave you guys with.
Beautiful.
Number 1, be following this guy. If you have any interest in getting in the under 65 health space, I mean, this guy is the real deal. That's why they call him Big Time Brad Hannon. I got to say it.
Thanks, Merwin.
I got to say it. Yeah, I just latched onto that. I'm like, I'm not letting it go. But no, seriously, like, I mean, I've learned a lot from watching your content and following you, because it's not my primary thing.
Yeah.
Right? So I learned from guys like you that are doing it at insanely high levels. And so make sure you're following Brad's stuff, you guys, if you're not already.
Likewise to Christian's stuff as well.
Thank you. I mean, the other thing
we'll link that, by the way, in the description. We'll link the group for sure.
Thank you. The second thing I would say would be, if like Brad said, I mean, you said it better than I could have. If you are writing Medicare in your sleep, get in ACA.
Yeah.
Get in short-term medical.
Yeah.
Get in the whole under 65 world. Make sure it's part of what you're doing, because it's dumb if you're not. I mean, I've been there. What I was doing was dumb.
Don't do what he did.
Yeah, don't do what I did. I went through the pain so you don't have to.
There you go.
Right? Like, I lost all that money so you don't have to. And the third thing I'd say, guys, is just if you're watching this and you don't believe in collaboration, start believing in collaboration.
For real. Yeah. Amen. We'll end it there, because that is like, I mean, that's gold, and you'll definitely see it, and those watching, you'll see the collaboration that we're putting together. I mean, everything that I do, I'm thinking now, who can I involve? And so with that, brother, thanks for stopping by, and
thanks for having me.
It's been fun, man.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you gained something from this. Our goal is to provide value in the individual under 65 health insurance space. If you did get something on this, then make sure you like and subscribe below. Be a part of what we're growing here on YouTube with Health Insurance Hustlers.